Welcome to Face Ripper Records. This one is going to be a bit of a different one. This one's going to be quite meaningful, and I really am sincere about doing it justice here. This concerns a band called Devoted Fusion from Long Island, New York. They're progressive metal, hard rock. Current lineup: Sean Cusack, vocals, guitar; Brett Sensner on drums, Anthony Trier on bass. Influences, all the good stuff like Dream Theater, Symphony X, Opeth, Tesseract. They kind of incepted in 2016. In 2019 there was a highlight in their selection to open for Grammy-nominated band Salvia. So this already signals a band that has the caliber to command major stages, and this isn't a group that's just tracing trends. They're building a legacy, as well as referring to a legacy in this latest album that's going to be released on April the 22nd. That's hopefully the day this video comes out. And the album is called Ship Me to Heaven. Now, in this release, Devoted Fusion are moving away from a collection of songs model towards a long-form conceptual architecture. Ship Me to Heaven is described as a meticulously paced emotional journey, emotional odyssey, that raises the stakes for the listener by grounding progressive technicality in visceral human narrative. The album serves as a poignant exploration of terminal illness, and this has been inspired by the 2014 passing of Sean Cusack's Uncle Bill. The band has deployed here a maritime metaphor to map the stages of grief and physical decline, and I will probably describe a bit later that all of the kind of track titles have some reference to ship or maritime in a very clever way, whilst kind of describing as it goes on the initial hospital journey, onset of illness, and the finality of passing, and the aftermath that is left behind, celebration of life that then follows. And this album represents a monumental kind of achievement in not only independent production, but in kind of personal catharsis, or and the personal kind of exploration of pain, the suffering of the human condition that is prevalent to us all, that we experience in one form or another. Inevitably, and it's I'm very humbled by the opportunity to give it some detailed exploration. We're going to be listening or watching to 3 lyric videos: Inship, Abandoned Ship, and Shipwrecked, and I'll be kind of giving some after commentary. So this is a kind of a bit of a poignant reaction kind of series, a triple bill. I don't often do these, but I feel that it is a project that is deserving of it, and not to take away from the colour of the themes behind the music, but this is something that kind of strikes. I am kind of have my own influence, my own take on this, having lost a friend and colleague, and a kind of a dreadful and sudden circumstances in January. So I'm approaching this already with a degree of emotional understanding, not that one can fully comprehend one other's pain, but it's going to be a ride for me also. I think I'll leave my waffle there. It's been 4 minutes. So, okay, the first track we're going to listen to is Inship. Got that kind of rolling sea element
this your journey glistening?
Oh, that's a vocal that. That's a vocal that hits.
Save yourself from all misery. They're only so unclear. On top of all this fear, you will close the hellgate, analyze this march. You commence the test 'cause we're in charge.
This kind of, for me, has like some overtones of some of like the 80s goth style with the vocal, and maybe some of the stuff from Anathema.
The ship embarks in Odyssey, travel on this quest of
It's a beautiful combination because you've got this quite deep bass and guitar sound and this very light vocal. Oh, this reminds me of something else. What is it? It'll come to me. Ah, yeah, here we go. I really am enjoying this bass sound. Oh, very, very clean music video as well. Oh, I'm really struggling to recall the band that this reminds me of. In fairness, I'm usually on the heavier, darker side, and it kind of started out as a bit kind of middle of the road, and I don't mean that in an offensive way, but then it's kind of developed to get stronger in tandem with, I suppose, not only the kind of the intensity of the physical experience and emotional experience described, but, you know, also the narrative. I lost my way a bit there. Good break. Problem is, while they're tying this up in a visually kind of nautical way, you understand where it's going, and that is kind of, it's sad. It's sad and it gets you. Who says music couldn't be emotional? Back to my notes, when I can find my mouse. I did 2 sets of notes here. So, just going to the kind of thematic significance of the title, it's an 8-track album. So we had Inship, which was the start of the journey, kind of entering the hospital environment. Then track 2 is entitled Companionship. Notice the repeated use of the word ship. This is the kind of the power of alliance and family support during the struggle. Track 3 is entitled Battleship, which is an instrumental representation of the internal kind of physical battle. And then 4, we have Abandon Ship, which is a realization of a failing struggle and the transition to letting go. And that's where we're going to go right now. God, this is... thank you for kind of sharing this. I know this could not have been easy. What a legacy to leave behind for someone you love. I often, despite being Buddhist, am a little bit, I wouldn't say egotistical, but maybe I'm a little bit selfish because, you know, I'm petrified of my passing and what, if anything, of consequence I may leave behind. And I think a lot of people have that feeling. So to pick up the legacy of Uncle Bill and carry that forward in your craft, in your journey, in your passions, in your drives, and in your desire to be successful and desire to leave something so significant of someone that was so significant to you. I think that's the ultimate expression of love that sometimes we regret not expressing as much of in the day-to-day. When everything was fine and everyone was well, we always have that theme of regret. And I suppose for some, possibly for Sean, there was some regret, you know, of maybe not having loved enough, maybe not having done enough. Maybe that was a part also in putting this together. But yeah, props to you. I can't find. I'm chastising myself for not finding enough poignant words. So, Abandon Ship. This is track 4 of the album. The realization of a failing struggle, the transition to letting go. Ooh. Poignant. Like, I'm definitely enjoying the more up pace. I mean, visuals are absolutely wicked. And then I sort of get into realizing I'm enjoying myself too much because of the narrative. But this is after all a celebration of life, so I shouldn't feel guilty about what. For a 3-piece, there aren't any empty spaces, if you get what I mean. I think it's a 3-piece. I'll double check that. I love this really honest production style as well. I can imagine the live transition is exact. Put a whole key solo over the top of it here. But it's good though. It has a sort of level of inspiration. You know, it's progressive without being pretentious. Nice. Ooh. Yeah. Lovely job, lovely job. Absolutely loved that one. I will honour both the band and the legacy of Uncle Bill by giving this a whole listen as is intended. I mean, I'd love to have done so before this, but this would interfere with the posterity of a reaction. So I kind of left it alone. But yeah, this I loved this vibe. I absolutely loved this vibe. And for a fleeting moment, it kind of took me away from the heaviness, and I think that's important also from a listener perspective, because it's a difficult balance to make something very personal but also very accessible, and sometimes that's a hard balance to strike. But here, Devoted Fusion are kind of have done that very successfully. So we kind of would move on through the rest of the album. That was Abandoned Ship, and you have Shipwrecked, which is the physical end, a curtain call, and a loss of control. The theme obviously continues for the other tracks. I think it's probably good if I just leave that and we just kind of make this segment a bit shorter. And we're going to bounce straight to Shipwrecked, which is the third track I'm going to be kind of reacting to here, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Cool. Push some buttons. 3, 2, 1, go. Apparently this is the heaviest song they have ever written. So I'm looking... Oi! That's a dark chord. Dance! Quite a departure from the other two. I'm alive! I love this video editing. You've done it in timing with the music and everything. I know from having done a lot of this, it's hard work. guitarist does this awesome kind of like soaring and creating kind of space. Technical, but yet not overcomplicated, very in keeping, and this kind of separates but at the same time unites that heaviness of this bass sound that I love, that has been consistent throughout everything we've listened to so far. This band have a really good ability to be able to like pull that back and calm down, yet still be cohesive.
His fame is shipwrecked in the cold.
Okay, now we go back to the emotions.
His fame is shipwrecked in the cold. Now he falls.
Okay, I'm breaking. I apologise. But this is good. I love this. If that isn't just a poignant full stop. Before we go into the post-reaction commentary phase, I'd just like to take a moment to, one, thank you for still being here, but two, introduce you to my music. I'm flying under the banner of Monk. It's part of a massive rebrand I'm doing. I'll be putting all my old catalogue up there, and the background music you're hearing as I'm kind of doing the narratives in this video is actually some of my works in progress, which you can hear in full, in better clarity, on my SoundCloud. Not as good as marketing my own stuff as I am others, but if you've liked what you heard, then why not give me a kind of follow or say hello or kind of make some comments or something. I'm really bad at marketing myself, but thank you. I am also a musician too, and I hope that this short segment does nothing to impede on the magnificence of what we've been listening to just now. I'm sad this kind of little review thing is over. Kind of feeling like I should have walked through the whole album. But yeah. So let's go back to the cleverness of the titles before I sort of offer some conclusion, which I'm sure I won't find the right words for. So Shipwrecked, we had that, the physical end, the curtain call, the final loss of control. Track 6, which should follow on after this, is Worship. So, it's containing the nautical theme without containing the nautical theme. I love this kind of wordplay. They've been very intelligently put together. This is Mourning and Remembrance by Survivors. Ship Me to Heaven, track 7, is the transition of the soul toward a final destination, and Membership, finding peace and beauty in everlasting light. I'd be interested to hear how the sound kind of compares to previous releases. There are a number of them. Go and look them up. I'm going to leave as many links to socials and what have you as possible. I'm going to add these tracks to my kind of Face of the Records playlist. I'm listening to everything on an app called Cobuzz. I have abandoned Spotify. I've just found the sound quality of this app, which is why I promote it in every video, just phenomenal. Absolutely beats anything else I've ever listened to. I've been rediscovering albums I know every minute detail to, and been finding new details listening through this particular player. and I truly believe it's the most accurate representation of the master as it left its studio as you can possibly get, from a service that hosts files and compresses them so to make them widely available. But that little piece segment aside, I would just really like to say that I think we've had a good kind of collection. We've had a sort of a softer, more atmospheric kind of initiation, introduction in Inship. We've had a kind of a more kind of high energy pivot in the abandoned ship that we've seen and listened to, and then we have an aggressive curtain call, yet still laden with emotion in Shipwrecked, and I'm sure that there are many flavors in between. The album, just some final notes, was recorded, edited, mixed and mastered by Sean Cusack. Again, just like a fantastic job. I know how hard that is to put together, not only on a track by track basis, but to make a whole album cohesive. The physical tracking of the instruments to the logo designed by, is it Alex Piccirillo? I apologise, I've probably screwed that up. The band has been prioritising superior tone and manual effort over digital and AI shortcuts. So the manual labour behind it, the manual labour and the emotional labour, it's built significant respect for the artist, not just Sean, but the collective members' dedication to their craft. I think like Dream Theatre, I'm trying to think sort of what it could sort of the closest. There's some elements of like a hero of dramatic turn of events. Symphony X's iconoclast, tone over technicality, philosophy, which makes somehow in the progressive scene like the complex overtones of the theme easier to digest because they're not overshadowed by the technicality of the music. So I think there was considerable there's a nice balance of restraint and showmanship, as well as expression and vulnerability in this album. I suppose that would be the vibe check. Definitely this is a band you need to thank for such a dedicated release. So I would directly point out, the Bandcamp for digital, physical, pre-orders. And there is actually, if you're kind of closer to these areas than I am, I'm from the UK, Amityville Music Hall on April the 26th, and the Seven Crest in Teaneck on May the 16th. So we're already putting some live shows so soon behind this. I hope I have done this justice. Huge. I hope this has been sufficient to complement the memory of Uncle Bill. This has been quite a ride for me. I just wanted to kind of sort of like clarify something I may have missed in my notes. So the current lineup: Sean Cusack, vocals, guitar; Brett Sesner on drums; Anthony Trio on bass. But I think while Anthony is the current live bassist, for technical performance on the record was handled by recording bassist Jack DiGiacomo. I think that kind of covers that. I just want to make sure everyone is involved. My notes are sometimes a little bit chaotically formed, and I don't always kind of follow them in order depending on my kind of speaking context. So apologies, nobody's been left out. This has been a beautiful project. Thank you very much for bringing it to my attention, and thank you for your patience in my catching up. And I think you all should be proud of yourselves for this one. Not just musically and in the technicality of kind of doing everything in-house, but also on a kind of moral, like spiritual kind of standpoint. You've created something special here. And I hope you go on to great successes.